Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be working on the skirt of this triple mum. The skirt is going to be 24 inches in length, so I'm cutting the ribbons about 26 inches for attaching to the backers. Okay, so I am using a 2.5 inch pink acetate, which is the number 40, I believe. And I'm just cutting several. I don't know exactly how many I'm going to need, so I'm just starting at a starting point so I have some to attach, and then if I need to cut more, I will cut more. Not a big deal. I'm using a rotary cutter. It does make it easier to cut with a rotary cutter. Now I'm going to cut some white. So I was going to start with pink and then I'll do white, which I know may seem a little weird, but I wanted the back side to be really pretty in pink because mum is going to be pink, gold, rose gold, and white and burlap. So I wanted the pink on the back side where she can see it too. And you will be able to see some of that when she moves around. And I think I started with at least 10. I can't remember, and I wasn't paying attention. You could count how many I cut if you want. There is some honeycomb, aka Connie's favorite ribbon, and it's even wider than the 2.5. I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember how wide it is. At least a 3 inch, if not wider than that. And it's a gold, kind of a holographic honeycomb. I've had it for years. I don't even remember where I got it from. I'm sorry. But that's just going to be some filler. And when she moves around, you might be able to see that in between there. And here's some pretty glitter ribbon that's kind of mesh-like. It is rose gold. So you're going to see me cutting different kinds of glitter ribbons. They're going to be golds. There's going to be light gold. There's going to be rose gold. There's going to be pinks. I don't think I put any burlap in the skirt. I think I went mostly with just glitter ribbons. So it's really sparkly behind all the braids and chains. And that was some kind of Hobby Lobby ribbon, but I don't know exactly where at it was purchased. Now that is Diamond Dust, and that is the number 9. And again, I'm just going to cut some, and if I need to add more, I will. And I'm just going to get to thinner and thinner ribbons as I go. And it's just going to be a variety of glitter ribbons that I'm going to add back there, or pretty ribbons. Some are going to be for attaching bells and ornaments and trinkets and such. So you will see some really small ones too, or pretty narrow ones, and that's what those are going to be for. I only did 3 of those, but like I said, it's very wide, so it's going to take up a lot of room. It may even be like a 4 inch. I can't remember. It's really wide, so it probably is something like that. I'm just cutting a V shape on the bottom of all of those. Make them nice and pretty. You can cut at like an angle. You can cut them straight across, but I would make sure that they're clean. You want to have clean ends. I just like the looks of the V-cut on the bottoms. Plus, I think it's more forgiving. If you don't have them all exactly even, I think it's going to be a lot more forgiving. I know there's some people that think that you can't see the ends, but you do. I have seen them, so just be aware of that. Okay, so I did the backer. I didn't use a heart-shaped backer. You can do that if that works better for you, but I'm using 3 round backers. And for the braids and chains, I'm just going to use a half of 1 round. Now you can go up higher to even where the double at the top to attach your braids and chains, and that's what I did last year. If you want to go see that, I know I didn't show attaching the ribbons, but I showed attaching the braids so you could see where I had stapled all the ribbons on that one. So if you want to see that, you can, but I wanted to go more narrow at the heart, at the bottom of the heart, so I went with a half backer, but I didn't cut that backer in half. I just folded it in half so it would be sturdier. And I'm just going to clip it on a ribbon I have tied around the mannequin's neck. That comes in handy because I can attach things to that ribbon. And I prefer to hold it up because you're going to know how the ribbons lay if you hold it upright. If you attach the ribbons flat on the table, when you pick it up, they're not going to lay the way you think they're going to lay. So I prefer to do it like this. You can also just put your roll of ribbon on the floor, pick up the ribbon, and start stapling and cutting at the bottom over and over. But I've done that before too, but I prefer like this. I prefer to have them already cut, already clean at the ends. Just makes it easier for me. Plus, I don't like bending over and constantly bending over and cleaning up those ends and picking up the ribbon. My back can't handle that. So for those of you that are young, you can do that if you want. And I'm attaching them in twos and trying to overlap them all. There might be some small, there's a little gap there, but this is just the first layer. The sucker ended up being, I think, right under 7 pounds once it was fully made in the box. So including the box and, a ton of tissue paper and those big bubble mailers. If you have a mannequin too, it does help kind of give you a guide of how it's gonna, even though the mannequin is tiny and most people aren't going to be that tiny, it still gives you an idea of how it's going to look worn. And again, I want to say thank you to Connie for showing this tip for doing just half the backer, or you can fold it in half like I did here if you want it to be stronger, especially for these big heavy mums. But because you can go, I don't know if you can see where I'm stapling, but instead of having to come from the side, you can go over the top. Never even dawned on me to do that, and it has been such a game changer. That's why we share. We share, we learn from each other because we all have great ideas and tips, and we learn as we go. We get better as we go. So don't be afraid to share with each other, and you never know what great tip is waiting from the next mum maker, and they could only be, it could be their first season and they could come up with some really great ideas. So don't discount somebody because they're new at it. This is that big chain I made, so I'm going to hold that up to it several times to kind of see where I'm at, because I know that's going to be the main focal point, and then I've got several more braids that will end up being on there. At this point, I think I only have a few made, but I can't even remember how many I put on there. I have to look at the video and count the finished video. I think I counted at some point, maybe on a live or something, I can't remember. But it was quite a few, considering it had that big mum chain in the middle. I think somebody said that other people call it a cascading flower chain or something. I can't remember. You guys can tell me, but I just been calling it a mum flower chain because that's what it is, just mum flowers. Sorry, hopefully I can mute Kit Kat out for that bark. I do like to angle them out. See how they curl around the mannequin's body? I just love the way it does that. Now, when it comes to shipping and boxing these suckers up, that part is not fun because it makes it really wide, and then I have to deal with those wide ribbons, those ribbons on the side. So going narrow when you're shipping is much easier, but I just love this look. I can't rein myself in sometimes. And I was really happy with the way it turned out. So yeah, there's going to be times where I'm in front of you or in front of the camera and you can't see what I'm doing, but that's just the way it is. I mean, I could go in on the side, but then I would be walking in front of the camera when I'm attaching on that side. So I got the best angle I could, and you can see what as much as you can. It's not perfect, but at least I can share this with you. Okay, my dog's going to keep barking, so there's going to be muted spots in this video because of the barking. See how I'm coming down on the backer and stapling? It's so much easier. Let's all give Connie a round of applause for that, please. Now, I didn't want to do a ton of layers of this acetate because I knew I was going to add several pretty ribbons, and then all those braids and chains, and that mum flower chain was super heavy. So I did not want to make it horrendously heavy. I just grabbed a scrap piece of ribbon there, and I'm going to staple that right in the middle, and then I can use that as a loop to hang on the mannequin. Now it's only a 9/16, so once it starts getting too heavy, I think I had to change it out. I can't remember if it lasted the whole time or not, because that's pretty thin. That's a lot easier. A lot more movement, and I have more. I can get in there with the stapler better with that loop instead of having it clipped on. You see how wide that honeycomb is. Alright, finish with the honeycomb. I'm going to put one on each side. Again, that's for filler. And when she moves around, it'll add some more sparkle in there throughout the chain or the skirt. Okay, I'm going to tell you, it's late. I've been working on mums all night or all day. And so I may be a little loopy for this voiceovers for this video. It may not make sense through the whole thing. I'll apologize now, but it is what it is. That is diamond dust. It looks very yellow on my laptop. I don't know about how it's looking for y'all. It's funny. But it is gold. Gold diamond dust. Just gonna sporadically add it here and there, along with all the other ribbons I add. Okay, so there's a little pattern to it. I'm not just throwing it up there. I also wanted to make sure on the sides that there was lots of glitter ribbons, pretty ribbons, because I knew the braids and chains were going to they'll kind of fall forward and towards the center more, and so some of the sides will just be shown, just the ribbons. So I wanted to add lots of glitter ribbons on those sides, and there were several layers by the time I finished. These are wired ribbons, so I'm removing those wires. That's a wired glitter and organza. It's like a sheer organza as well. And it was from Christmas. I think it may have been a Walmart roll. I can't remember, but it's very pretty. it's sheer in the center, but then the outer edges, like not just the edges, but the outer ends are glitter. I just wanted a variety of pretty, sparkly, glittery ribbons. And she did want it blinged, so to make sure I got plenty of sparkle on it. I was thinking about adding that, and then I thought, no, it needs more layers. And since that was a kind of meshy glitter, I want it to be on top of whatever else I attach, because you'll be able to see through it and see behind it. That is like a rose gold with gold metallic woven in, and it is a wired ribbon as well. But it's a solid color, a solid ribbon, so you can't see through that. So that's why I want to put the meshy looking one, or netted, kind of a netting or mesh look. I'm going to put that on top. See the ceiling fan blowing all the ribbons around. Those look longer, but it's because all the other ribbons are curling under and those are actually laying flat. Okay, I'm showing you removing the wires. Those come out really easily. Well, most wired ribbons will come out very easily. Some are a little bit more difficult, and I get my needle nose pliers when I need the help. And the reason why I remove the wires is to see how they flow and lay naturally. If you left the wires in, they would not do that. And every time they got bumped or they're just going to get smashed and bent, and then the wire or the ribbons would look all funky after it being worn for just a little while. So plus they're stiff, and so I just prefer this because it's going to lay and flow like all other ribbons. Now I've got some solid gold ribbon. This is the ribbon I got from Amazon. It's like metallic on the back side and glitter on the top. Very pretty. I've got it in silver, gold, and then I have a light gold as well. Just trying to make a whole layer full of all kinds of pretty ribbons. So no matter how she moves, you're going to see sparkle and glitter behind there. You see you're seeing less and less of the white ribbon behind it. I think that's another wired ribbon. I'm trying to, that may be the sparkling. Sparkling is a creasable ribbon. There's no wire in it. And it's just like shiny, but kind of sparkly and kind of holographic at the same time. It's textured. Yeah, that's what I'm using there. And I think it's around a 7/8 inch width. You're going to see me just going back and forth, attaching ribbons. Like I said, on the ends, I really wanted to make sure I had several layers and several different ones. And another ribbon. This is the one I was thinking I was using just a minute ago. It is wired, it's glitter, and then it's metallic on the ends where it's hiding the wires. It's really pretty. I don't remember where I got it either. Could have been an Amazon find because it's on a bigger roll. I'm not sure. Could have been a Mum Supply, one of those rare finds. I don't know. Some of these ribbons I've had for years, so I don't remember where I got them or if they're even available anymore. See, that's one of those where I had to get the needle nose pliers to get them out. And you can see it wasn't difficult. You just need that to be able to pinch the wire and get it out. I put several of those in there too, mostly on the sides. Make sure you could see, you know, again, I wanted to make those sides really pretty. Seems I'm very methodical about this part. I mean, I take care of where I'm attaching the ribbons and, you know, if it's full, if it's everything is covered the way I want it to be covered, and if it's got enough different textures and styles and varieties and blah, blah, blah. Like I really think about that. I'm not just throwing a bunch of ribbons up there. Now, if I was doing a rush last minute, yeah, I would just be throwing ribbons up there, not really giving it a whole lot of thought. But this is one. Definitely took care in each aspect of making the mum. Now I'm attaching finally that meshy. It's not a mesh. I keep calling it a mesh because you can see through it because the design is kind of like a mesh or a net or a webbing or something. And that's the one you saw me cut from Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to place those throughout. I think I had 5 of them. That's all I had left on that roll. So I want to space those out. I felt like I accomplished getting a lot of glitter ribbons and pretty ribbons back there behind all those braids and chains. Yeah, you can tell some of them curl under at the ends and then some of them lay flat and straight. The other ones will relax some too as it's hung up. Now for some smaller ribbons that I can hang braids and chains, not braids and chains, told you it's late, trinkets and bells and ornaments. I put all kinds of neat ornaments on these senior mums, especially these bigger ones. I'm sampling some of the ribbons that Connie had sent me in that big supply haul that where everybody met up, but some of the stuff was from other things, other shopping hauls, but she sent me a box. If you didn't see that unboxing, you can go back and watch that. She sent me several pinks and rose gold, really pretty ribbons. And this one was kind of like a soft satin. I mean, it was soft satin, but it was also like a metallic too. It was like soft satin in the center. And I used it quite a bit on this mum. I used it, I attached several back there, and I ended up using those to attach like the bells and those big ornaments and stuff. I also made some bows out of it. I used it in some of the braids and chains. It was so pretty, so pretty. I think on the roll it said peach too. There was one that said peach on the roll, and it was not peach. I don't know, maybe you can use it with peach and it has a peach. Maybe it brings out the peach. I don't know, but it was pink. And I'm attaching several of these because I knew I was going to put on several big things on the mum, so. I was glad I folded that backer in half and used it. You know, it was thick by the time I was done attaching everything to the skirt, the braids and everything. It was very thick, but I think it would have been too much for just the thin single layer, because I don't know about you all, but the backers that I got, a lot of them felt even thinner than what they have in the past. I don't know. But it got so thick that when I would staple through, the staple wouldn't even go all the way through anymore. That's how much stuff was on the skirt of this mum. So folding it in half made it thicker, made it even more difficult to get the staple all the way through once I got to that point. But like I said, I knew it was going to hold up better too. So you have to decide what you think is better. Again, I just share what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. Never do I tell y'all that this is the way you're supposed to do it and the only way to do it. This is just my way of doing it. If you want to do it my way, you're more than welcome to. If you get tips from me, that's great. If you are learning from me, that's great. You know, even if you're learning from me, there's going to be things that you learn from other people that you're going to like better. You're going to come up with your own ideas that you like better for yourself. That's okay. Like I said, I'm just sharing what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and you know, I'm always evolving and changing and learning new tips and tricks and stuff from other people. So just, you know, be like that. Don't listen, you know, if you The only thing I tell you not to listen to is people that are negative and people that tell you that there's only one way to do something. There's only one way and in their way, and it's always their way. So don't listen to people like that or people that don't build you up. Surround yourself by people that are going to build you up, that are going to help you grow and learn and in a positive way and just make you become a better mom maker. And in turn, that's going to make them a better mom maker too by sharing and helping and just being a good person, good and kind person. To me, just really has made me a better person. Look at that. Sucker just, like I said, it was heavy, but it was really pretty and definitely the focal point. I made sure that I did not cover that up with anything, because what's the point in making all that and her wanting that and then covering it up with a bunch of stuff where she can't see it. And that's the zigzag braid, and that is where I ended up leaving it, so you could see it between the mum's backers there on that mum chain. It wasn't like directly behind it, but it was kind of to the side, but also in those gaps from the mum flowers. So, and it had a bunch of pretty ribbons woven into it. It was so pretty. Then a whip braid that I had several ribbons woven in it too. It was like layered, a bunch of ribbons layered. It was really pretty. She didn't get any plain braids. They were all like really pretty. There was several ribbons. There was several, high-end ribbons and layered ribbons, and yeah, every braid was more extra, as Connie would say. They were extra. But they didn't just buy a triple mum. They bought blinged and a monogram and some, I can't remember what other extras. And I'm just pinning those on. I don't think I'm stapling at this point. I should just be pinning them on because I don't have all of them made yet. And usually I make all my braids and chains before I attach them. There has been times where I've attached them and then made another one or something, or a couple more or something, because I felt like there was a gap or something. But usually I have them all made and then I pin them up there, move them around, until I figure out what I like. But that is the biggest tip I can give you for attaching your braids and chains, is before you start stapling them up there and then ripping them off because you don't like where they are, take your hyla holders, as Connie calls them, and pin them up to the backer and move them. They're not going to be in the exact spot where they will when they staple, or down, the length of the backer, some of them, because you're going to have to pin them up higher. But it's going to give you the best idea of how it's going to look. I know I've seen other people adopt that since I've done it. So, and that's great, seeing people adopt things that you do and to help other mum makers grow. And see, I'm moving around, like maybe I want that one on the end. But no, I liked it right there by the mum flower. And I had it on the back side, so I moved it around to the front side because that's going to be a little bit more natural. I was super proud of this mum. I made 4 mums for her, so every year that I sold on Etsy, they purchased from me, and I made Maggie's mums. It's sad that this was her senior mom and I won't get to make any more for her, but it's also very sweet and, you know, very happy to make her senior mom. I would have been really disappointed if I wasn't able to make her senior mom after making so many. Last year's was, again, the Wada mom that I did last year, the double, that was her. And the year before that, she did a single with the school colors. So we got bigger and bigger every year. And it was my first rose gold burlap mum, so I was happy about that too. She was my first Wada mum too, so it was fun to be able to do different things for her too. And that's a military braid, but it's just a single military braid, but again, I've got layered ribbons, got pretty ribbons. I think I showed, I know I did, I showed part of making that military braid because I was having some issues with it. And I showed how to make the mum flower chain. It was in 2 separate videos. The majority of those other braids, though, I've already done at least 1 video on those, most of them multiple videos. Like the whip braids, I've got so many whip braid tutorials. I even did at least 2 more this year. I think that one is the twisted military that Connie did. So she's got a good tutorial for that if you want to see that one. The zigzag braid, TJ's got an excellent tutorial for that. She created that. And I'm just playing around because I think y'all remember, unless you're new, that I wanted to drape some of the braids and I really played around with draping them, but it ended up being somewhere else. See, here I'm like, should I drape it across the middle? No, I don't want to cover up the class of 2024. I know that was important to her, so I did not want to cover that up in any way. And again, at this point, I didn't have all the braids and chains made either. Oh, and now Lucy had to come say hi. Okay, I've got it turned around backwards because I feel like it needs some more ribbons back here. There's some gaps and I don't like that. Plus I think it can handle a few more. I started out with 2 layers because I didn't want it to get too heavy. That chain in the center is very heavy, and then I added all those wired ribbons and stuff, so I didn't want to weigh it down too much. But I am going to add some more, at least on the ends, and see how I like that. Because what it is, I don't know if I showed this part, but I just got a scrap piece of ribbon just for use of hanging it while I'm working on it. But it's going to be on a ribbon necklace. And see, I don't like that. I want to fill that in a little bit more. So you can go from the back side if you need to. So I cut 6 more, so groups of 3. And you'll just want to put them on backwards. So they're in the same position. Going the same direction, I mean. And you can staple or glue, whatever works for you. do more for the other side, and if I need to cut more, I'll cut more. I'm just start with 3 and see how I like it. Now, if you noticed when I was attaching these, I kind of curve them. I kind of go like that when I'm attaching them. I'm not attaching them flat like that. I kind of give them a twist, like kind of twist the ribbon like that a little bit when you're stapling. That makes them curve. See how it curves? You may not want to do that. That's up to you if you want to do that or not. It makes it curve, kind of. I'm just going to make it go round. I like it out staple. So it's going to be a triple, so let's try to imagine she's going to be like this. So it's going to be pretty low. So when you curve them like that, they're going to go around her like this, around the sides a little bit. Some of those are going to twist it. And they will kind of, you know, they're not going to be perfect. They're not going to lay perfectly. Some of these small ones are for trinkets and bells and embellishments and such. But you see how that curves around? You may just want to make it, you know, where it ends like right here or something. You may not like this. That's okay. You don't have to do it the way I do it. This is the way I, you know, I don't always do them like this, but I do kind of like those extra ribbons, so that's why I made sure that there were lots of pretty ribbons on the side, because they're going to be all by themselves. It's hard to get braids and chains to go around like that. You can try. That's the only thing you're going to have ribbons that come around. But I just kind of like how they kind of curve. I had thought about putting the zigzag over here, but I really like it right there with that braid. I think you're really going to be able to see it. And then the pretty military, that's all layered, and it has 2 of the pretty ribbons in this one are in this one as well. There is one more ribbon on there that's not on this one though. But that's it. They're the same colors and 2 of the pretty ribbons. There's 3 pretty ribbons, 2 of them are on here, so I kind of liked having that on either side. Yeah, that definitely fills in right there where I want to get to. Now, if I didn't go so wide, that's another thing about curving them. You're going to go wide. It's going to make it really wide, so you're going to use more ribbons, so think about that too. So you may want to cut it off like right here. And it's getting pretty heavy. It's not horrible, but it is getting pretty weighed down, so I just want to be really careful and not make it super heavy, especially since this weighs so much. again, it's going to be somewhere around here, like that. Make it much longer.
Lucy, you want me to throw it? Do you want Mama to throw the ball? Let me have it. Let me have it. Let me have it.